Hey guys, this is going to be a mod spotlight video focusing on 5 immersive ship mods. Astrogate by RealityIDR, more immersive landings and takeoffs by Seamless Grav Jump by aDebaser, and an experimental mod by the same aDebaser, Spacewalk with a Purpose. Lastly, there's Immersive Landing Ramps by SkinnyPig2, my personal favorite. Timestamps will be below so you can jump to check those out. This is the first of mod spotlight videos I am making, and it's going to be a little different from other spotlight videos, and that I am going to also rant a little at the end. I don't know if this is going to be my formula for spotlight videos in the future. However, upon testing these mods, I felt inspired to offer my unsolicited opinion on the topic of immersion, as well as a plea to players who aren't modders to learn how to mod. If you're new here and like the video, go ahead and subscribe and have a look around the channel. I promise to only disappoint you. Now that the begging is out of the way, let's go. First up is Astrogate by RealityIDR. This mod effectively adds a faster than the speed of light real-time travel system to the game. Without the use or need of Starfield script extender, it allows the player to cleverly adjust the speed of your ship by reallocating your ship's energy usage to the grav drive. Essentially, from the cockpit you are able to pinpoint a planet, set your grav drive, and then zip towards that planet at unfathomable speeds. Once you arrive at a planet, it puts you within range to open the star map and pick a landing destination. This mod isn't perfect in maintaining immersion, although it adds a great deal of needed authenticity to the space venturing experience, and its immersion breaks I perceive are due to the game's limitations. Next, we have more immersive landings and takeoffs by I really enjoyed this mod. It's very subtle and you truly only encounter it when landing or taking off. But what it does is as advertised. It achieves more immersive landings and takeoffs. Here I am featuring the first person option at regular speed, but the mod offers a slew of options tailored to your preference to include third person views as well as faster or slower landings takeoffs. What would be cool is to see a clip play similar to Star Wars Outlaws of the ship crossing through a cloudy atmospheric layer to help blend the transition from space to surface and vice versa. That's only a desire though, not a critique, because truly this mod is excellently executed. Moving on is Seamless Grav Jump by aDebaser. The current offering of this mod features only one version, but originally featured 3, including a Star Wars hyperdrive version, which I really wanted to see. Alas, the mod author still offers the vanilla-style wormhole version. Again, this mod offers an as-advertised experience of seamless grav jump travel. A quick note, this does not conflict with the first mod highlighted, Astrogate. However, it's a one or the other situation when traveling. Do you want to use the built-in grav jump system or the modded real-time travel system found in Astrogate? The nice part is, because the two mods do not interfere with each other, you may have both installed at the same time and use either or at your discretion. Now for aDebaser's second mod on the list. Spacewalk with a Purpose offers the ability to exit your ship while in space and maneuver through the open void unencumbered by the confines of your interstellar tin can. aDebaser lists this mod as experimental, and justly so. While it achieves what it sets out to do, it severely breaks immersion with clipping through your ship. However, it is still very cool, and hopefully one day aDebaser or someone else will be able to execute a fully functioning spacewalk mod. Lastly, we examine the crème de la crème, Immersive Landing Ramps by SkinnyPig2. I saved this mod for last because it is my favorite, and I also believe it is the most seamlessly functioning mod. It works so well that when testing the mod, it felt like a vanilla experience. The best mods feel and function like they belong in the game, no matter how simple or complex. To put it in the words of God Howard, it just works. Now, it's ranting time.
It's morphin' time! Dragon Sword!
Mastodon!
Pterodactyl!
Triceratops!
Saber-tooth tiger!
Tyrannosaurus!
These immersion mods are fantastic, and all of them beg the question, why were these features not included in the vanilla game? The answer? Gamers have become spoiled and we've raised our standards too high. We dug too deep and too greedily. Before I elaborate, let me declare that this is not a defense for billionaire AAA game publishers. Rather, it's a critique of modern expectations and lack of participation. We have reached a point in gaming where we, the player, are spoon-fed the interactive experience. What do I mean by that? Because graphic fidelity, mechanics, physics, and all other sorts of virtual experiences in interactive entertainment have grown so advanced, the industry as a whole, including developer and consumer alike, have abandoned one integral element: the imagination. It's not so much that these immersive features weren't included, as is the increase in our propensity for noticing their lack thereof. In previous generations of gaming, we were so reliant on our own imaginations and not the whims of developers that we never noticed the absence of immersion. Where the presented experience was limited, our imaginations picked up the slack. Keeping within the realm of Bethesda games, consider their library. Vanilla Skyrim as an immersive fantasy RPG is absolute dog shit. The edges of the game world are halted by invisible walls and turn-back messages. Fast travel includes loading screens, not to mention the presence of fast travel outside of in-game taxis is inherently immersion-breaking. More glaringly immersion-breaking is that, unmodded, every main hold in Skyrim is separated from the world map by loading screens. Now, look at Morrowind, which did not include a modern fast travel system. The only means of fast travel were by magic-driven teleportation or taxi by creature. These options included the presence of loading screens, but they did not break immersion. Instead, they trusted the presence of the player's imagination. We approach the Silt Strider taxi to travel to our desired location and appear across the map moments later. We know it's just code that transports us from one location to the next, but our minds as the imaginative participant fill in the break in the immersion. Moreover, we do it in our own way, which makes it a more personal and intimate experience that allows our minds to readily accept the illusion. So what's my point? We are in a dark period of gaming. The best aspects of Bethesda RPGs are not their ability to provide an immersive experience. Instead, they provide an experience in which we, the gamer, can immerse ourselves. Starfield's vanilla game is a failure because it is the first Bethesda release that consciously asks for our imaginative participation without prompting us to be imaginative. Whereas it is also their first release that we expect to not participate imaginatively because we're so used to increasingly detailed worlds that present to us every aspect of that world. And when that world fails in the details, our imagination is absent from the experience to keep us immersed. Starfield is a repetitive point A to point B design without the possibility of getting lost. In previous titles, we get a mission and a map marker, and the only way to get there initially is to walk. It's in that traversing that we, the player, get to encounter the world and are organically coerced into activating our imaginations. In those moments, organic exploration takes place and we become less concerned with the story and how believable the presentation is, and instead willfully surrender the mental barrier that keeps us in the real world. That unwritten design is where Skyrim, then later Fallout 4, shined. Skyrim is best played as a fantasy-themed walking simulator in which a story exists but isn't the focal point. Starfield breaks from this unwritten design. It's the Grav Jump fast travel system that subverts the Goldilocks Bethesda gameplay experience. Sure, they inserted random encounters, but they ultimately feel scripted. In Starfield, we receive a map marker, and then we Grav Jump there without the possibility of being attacked by some random bandit who then flees to a nearby fort. Rather, in Starfield, if we stop at a planet that is off the path of a given quest, it's because we pulled ourselves out of the quest and consciously thought, I want to go explore a new planet. We do this intentionally. Therefore, it is the randomness of the accident that is missing. The exploration experience then becomes, I want to go here, instead of, how the hell did I end up here? One is forced and the other is natural. In the Elder Scrolls series, no one goes looking for a skooma den. Yet somehow we always have the misfortune of coming across one, and it's always the same reaction. Ew, gross. That is what is referred to as world building, and it's done through showing, not telling. In a game that features nearly 1,000 worlds, Bethesda failed to build the most important one. As games approach realism in every aspect, so we become ever more critical of their attempt at realism, which then breaks us from accepting immersion, or the willful engagement in the illusion of existing in another world. Not exactly, but similar to the uncanny valley, the more that something artificial strives to portray reality, the more our brains reject its shortcomings. Take, for example, a character model from Morrowind, compared to a character model from Starfield. How is it that critics were more harsh on Starfield's characters, and yet more accepting of Morrowind's? Now, of course, realism in detail isn't a bad thing, but it becomes a bad thing when game developers rely on realism to create immersion. The game becomes an attractive presentation without substance. Gamers want substance. Visuals, mechanics, quest, and world design all contribute or detract from building and selling the illusion of the game world. So then what's the plea? Starfield, although the most poorly received of Bethesda games, still possesses that certain Bethesda quality that inspires and captivates. The great space adventure RPG for me is still the summit of gameplay experiences. I still believe that with the work of the modding community, Starfield can become the standard of space adventures. Not for Bethesda's sake, because realistically Bethesda is only going to continue growing and ultimately sell out and lose that spark that captivated the entire world. Instead, this is a call to the modding community to make the game we want and deserve. Because at the very least, which is also the most, with Starfield, Bethesda provided an unrivaled and potentially limitless backdrop for storytellers who otherwise wouldn't have a means to share their creations in such an unprecedented setting. Now I leave you with the most pretentious movie clip I could find.
But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. To quote from Whitman, "O me, O life of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, what good amid these, O me, O life? Answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. That the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse." What will your verse be?